History flows like a river. Tell us what happened today in history.
Today, 1,729 years ago, on May 16, 290, Sima Yan, Emperor Wudi of Jin Dynasty, died. Sima Yan, 236–290 May 16, born in Wenxian County, Hanoi, was the founder of the Jin Dynasty and was nicknamed Emperor Wu. Sima Yan is the eldest son of Sima Zhao. Mother Wang Yuanji is the daughter of Wang Su, a scholar, and has served as a senior military officer. Sima Zhao had intended to let his youngest son Sima Yu succeed to the Jin dynasty, but because of the opposition of important ministers, Sima Yan became the son of the world in May 265. After Sima Zhao's death in August of the same year, Sima Yan inherited the title of King of Jin. In December 266, Sima Yan forced the Emperor of Wei and Yuan dynasty to give up Buddhism in the winter and December of the first year of Taishi. He assumed the throne as emperor and was bound to have the name of Jin under heaven. Emperor Wu of Jin dynasty, because of Cao Wei's excessive repression of the imperial clan, caused the emperor to isolate and eventually be usurped by the emperor's ministers, and to divide the imperial clan into kings and control the military power. At the same time, in the fourth year of Taishi 268, he promulgated the decree of Taishi, and in the fifth year of Xianning 279, ordered Jiashang, Yang Ji, Du Yu, Wang Jun and so on to defeat Wu. In March 1990, Sun Hao surrendered and Sun Wu perished. The split situation was temporarily unified. After reunification, Sima Yan removed the guards of the prefectures and counties and tried to live with the people by enforcing the law of occupying land and teaching land. But Sima Yan was also a good sister-in-law who forbade marriage in the ninth year of Taishi 273 in order to select palace girls. After the death of Sun Wu, 5,000 palace girls of Sun Hao Hu Palace were included in the palace, so Sima Yan's palace stools. There are tens of thousands of people. Sima Yan took the sheep cart to patrol in the back palace for the convenience of Fortune, parked in front of which palace maid's door and went to Fortune, while the palace maid sprinkled salt and inserted bamboo leaves in front of her residence to lure the sheep cart to the palace for the sake of the emperor's fortune. Moreover, the Hu people in the border migrated to the Central Plains, causing conflicts between the Hu people and the Han people. In the first year of Taishi 290, Emperor Wudi of the Jin dynasty had long indulged in excessive indulgence and died in the hall of Hanzhong and was buried in the Junyang Mausoleum. Emperor Wudi himself inherited the three generations of Sima Yi, Sima Shi and Sima Zhao and called him emperor, but he was not a wise king himself. He abandoned the armed forces of prefectures and counties, divided the imperial clan wantonly and could not deal with the problem of Hu nationalities. Internal migration. He planted the far-reaching causes of the rebellion of the Eight Kings and the disaster of Yongjia in the future. On this day in 1929, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences hands out its first awards, at a dinner party for around 250 people held in the Blossom Room of the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California. The brainchild of Louis B. Mayer, head of the powerful MGM Film Studio, the Academy was organized in May 1927 as a non-profit organization dedicated to the advancement and improvement of the film industry. Its first president and the host of the May 1929 ceremony was the actor Douglas Fairbanks Sr. Unlike today, the winners of the first Oscars as the coveted gold-plated statuettes later became known were announced before the awards ceremony itself. At the time of the first Oscar ceremony, sound had just been introduced into film. The Warner Brothers movie The Jazz Singer, one of the first talkies, was not allowed to compete for Best Picture because the Academy decided it was unfair to let movies with sound compete with silent films. The first official Best Picture winner, and the only silent film to win Best Picture, was Wings, directed by William Wellman. The most expensive movie of its time, with a budget of $2 million, the movie told the story of two World War I pilots who fall for the same woman. Another film, F.W. Murnau's epic Sunrise, was considered a dual winner for the best film of the year. German actor Emil Jannings won the Best Actor honor for his roles in The Last Command and The Way of All Flesh, while 22-year-old Janet Gaynor was the only female winner. After receiving 3 out of the 5 Best Actress nods, she won for all 3 roles, in Seventh Heaven, Street Angel and Sunrise. A special honorary award was presented to Charlie Chaplin. Originally a nominee for Best Actor, Best Writer and Best Comedy Director for The Circus, Chaplin was removed from these categories so he could receive the special award, a change that some attributed to his unpopularity in Hollywood. It was the last Oscar the Hollywood maverick would receive until another honorary award in 1971. The Academy officially began using the nickname Oscar for its awards in 1939. A popular but unconfirmed story about the source of the name holds that Academy Executive Director Margaret Herrick remarked that the statuette looked like her Uncle Oscar. Since 1942, the results of the secret ballot voting have been announced during the live broadcast Academy Awards ceremony using the sealed envelope system. The suspense, not to mention the red carpet arrival of nominees and other stars wearing their most beautiful or outrageous evening wear, continues to draw international attention to the film industry's biggest night of the year. In the wake of the Soviet downing of an American U-2 spy plane on May 1, Russian leader Nikita Khrushchev lashes out at the United States and President Dwight D. Eisenhower at a Paris summit meeting between the two heads of state. Khrushchev's outburst angered Eisenhower and doomed any chances for successful talks or negotiations at the summit. On May 1, 1960, the Soviets shot down a CIA spy plane and captured the pilot, Gary Francis Powers. The United States issued public denials that the aircraft was being used for espionage, claiming instead that it was merely a weather plane that had veered off course. The Soviets thereupon triumphantly produced Powers' large pieces of wreckage from the plane, and Powers' admission that he was working for the CIA. The incident was a public relations fiasco for Eisenhower, who was forced to admit that the plane had indeed been spying on Russia. Tensions from the incident were still high when Eisenhower and Khrushchev arrived in Paris to begin a summit meeting on May 16. Khrushchev wasted no time in tearing into the United States, declaring that Eisenhower would not be welcome in Russia during his scheduled visit to the Soviet Union in June. He condemned the inadmissible, provocative actions of the United States in sending the spy plane over the Soviet Union, and demanded that Eisenhower ban future flights and punish those responsible for this deliberate violation of the Soviet Union. When Eisenhower agreed only to a suspension of the spy plane flights, Khrushchev left the meeting in a huff. According to U.S. officials, the president was furious at Khrushchev for his public dressing down of the United States. The summit meeting officially adjourned the next day with no further meetings between Khrushchev and Eisenhower. Eisenhower's planned trip to Moscow in June was scrapped. The collapse of the May 1960 summit meeting was a crushing blow to those in the Soviet Union and the United States who believed that a period of peaceful coexistence between the two superpowers was on the horizon. During the previous few years, both Eisenhower and Khrushchev had publicly indicated their desire for an easing of Cold War tensions, but the spy plane incident put an end to such talk, at least for the time being. Today, 22 years ago, on May 16, 1997, President Mobutu of Zaire stepped down. In early May 1997, Zaire rebels, the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo Zaire (ADF), occupied Kengai, the last stronghold of the Zaire government forces, and marched towards the capital Kinshasa. On May 15, rebel leader Kabila urged President Mobutu to resign within 3 days. On May 16, Mobutu left Kinshasa after handing over power to Zaire's cabinet, ending his 32-year rule over Zaire. On the 17th, Zaire rebels invaded the capital. Kabila announced his succession as head of state and renamed Zaire the Democratic Republic of the Congo. On May 29, Kabila was officially sworn in as president.